Hello, and welcome to Lecture 2 of the BitBadges Introduction course. In this lecture, we'll be talking a little bit more about how BitBadges is multi-chain, how we support different ecosystems, and how you, as the application builder, can leverage our multi-chain tools to build applications with a single unified interface. To get started, let me just introduce you to the 4 chains that we support. We support Ethereum, Cosmos, Solana, and Bitcoin, and you might notice that these are ecosystems instead of individual chains. So, for example, the Ethereum ecosystem versus the Cosmos ecosystem. Due to the way we have built BitBadges, we don't really make a difference, or we don't really denote a difference between individual chains within an ecosystem. So Ethereum is treated the exact same as Base or Optimism or any other L2. Same with Cosmos and all the app chains. It's all we care about is the signature algorithm, which we'll get into in the later slides. But I just want to make that distinction that we support these 4 major ecosystems, and then all chains within those ecosystems are technically supported because all we care about is the signature algorithm. The next thing I want to highlight is that our architecture is future-proof, so we can add chains as we need in the future. If you have any recommendations for chains that you think are good to add to BitBadges, or if you just want to recommend something, let us know. We're happy to add new chains in the future. So this is kind of just what I was highlighting on. There's no difference between the ecosystem and specific chains. It's just the L1, L2s, whatever part of that ecosystem is all just abstracted to the ecosystem itself. Okay, now let's get into a little bit of how we support multi-chain applications. The base of supporting multi-chain applications is via mapped addresses. Every user will have their own native address that you can think of. So this is the platform or chain that they're native to and maybe familiar with seeing. So this could be Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin, whatever. And we use the term native for what they're pretty much most familiar with. But then we also have a deterministic algorithm to map any address to any other equivalent address on another ecosystem. So, for example, as you see on the right, the Solana address 6H2 is equivalent to the BitBadges or Cosmos address with the prefix BB18, and also that Bitcoin address and the OX3 Ethereum address. So when you hear the terms native versus mapped, mapped is typically the BitBadges address, which we use as a kind of common denominator for many interfaces, many things. We try to be as accommodating of native addresses wherever possible, but in some cases you might have to map it to a BitBadges address just to avoid collisions, ensure consistency, and so on. So next you might think of what address should I use when building my application? The rule of thumb is typically end users want to see their preferred addresses and whatever they're most familiar with. And behind the scenes, you can use any. So you can map if you are an Ethereum native or Ethereum mostly application, you can just use Ethereum addresses as the base. We use the BitBadges address or Cosmos addresses behind the scenes as the base because that's what's actually used on chain in the Cosmos ecosystem, because our chain is built with Cosmos SDK. But again, like I said, you can use any, and there's just a deterministic way of mapping between them. As an example, this is for our token standard or badge standard. You can see that the same Solana address and the 2 Ethereum addresses both own one of the token or badge, but behind the scenes in the JSON map, they're all mapped to an equivalent BitBadges address behind the scenes, and we use that as the kind of common denominator or common interface naming scheme. And with the SDK, there's many different functions and to help you along the way converting to and from each thing. So you might oftentimes see Cosmos address. This is kind of an alias just for our BitBadges address. We kind of use them a little interchangeably. We're trying to go more towards being fully BitBadges address as a naming scheme, but again, you might see Cosmos address, and that's just the one prefix with the BB prefix. The last thing I want to note with the address conversions is that Solana addresses are one-way only. This is just a property of how they're derived. So converting from a Solana address is possible, and you can map it to any other chain's equivalent. However, you cannot do the reverse just because, like I said, it's just the way it was designed. You can't undo a hash is pretty much the basis of why. So as developers, we kind of just have to deal with it. It's a little annoying, but like I said, it just, yeah, something we have to deal with. And Solana is the only one currently right now, but in the future there may be more one-way only chains. I'm not, depends on what their architecture is. So when you log into the site, the BitBadges site, or interact with any application or interact with any of our developer tools, you might notice that we don't have our own wallet. We support existing wallets from any chain, anywhere. So these, you can go into the site and see all the supported wallets, but through the Ethereum ecosystem, we support all the, pretty much any wallet you can think of. Cosmos, we support Kepler and a couple others, Solana, Phantom, Bitcoin Phantom, and over time we'll just add more. But like I said, it's our services, suite of tools are compatible with any wallet, and over time we'll just add more. It's not like we have our own. It uses existing state-of-the-art standards and tools. To wrap it all up, you might think of BitBadges not as interoperable. That's why I have the question mark there, because everything is actually scoped to the BitBadges blockchain. So we verify signatures on the BitBadges blockchain using any other wallet. So an Ethereum user can sign a transaction on our chain and we'll verify the Ethereum signature. Or a Solana user can sign with the Solana signature algorithm or their wallet, and we verify the Solana algorithm on our chain. In other words, it's kind of a hub chain as opposed to actually pulling data from any other blockchain or interacting directly with any other blockchain. It's kind of an all-in-one place where you can have a unified hub, unified storage, or unified token standard for any of the supported chains. And yeah, that kind of wraps up this lecture. I hope that explained a little more on how BitBadges is interoperable and kind of why we made some of the design decisions that we did. And yeah, thank you for attending this lecture.